Hi there, Meena Srinivasan. I am the Executive Director of Transformative Educational Leadership. And I'm here to share three wellness practices that are from a very popular article that I wrote for ASCD a few years ago. And it's one of the best express articles a few years ago. And these three wellness practices are really available to everyone, not just educators. So the first practice is something I call the three T's. And the T's stand for tea time. And if you're a coffee drinker, that works too. I'm a tea drinker. Toilet time, which usually gets laughed, and transitional time. And what this means, the three T's, is I invite you to bring awareness to whenever you drink tea or coffee, a beverage of your choice, and to really just drink it with awareness. Smell it, taste it, savor it, and to not drink your worries, as my teacher Thich Nhat Hanh says, but to really be with it and have that drinking of that beverage be an experience of nourishment. The next T stands for toilet, and this comes from my time, working in schools and being in the classroom. Where the only break I got were the few minutes I taught secondary in between periods, the passing period, a few minutes before the bell rang when I used the bathroom. And I really tried to use that time. You think about it, you're instantly back in your body, but to just take a few breaths and come back to myself. So I invite you, whenever you have to relieve yourself, to just come back to your breath, come back to your body. We are so often not inhabiting these beautiful bodies that we live in. And so the invitation here is whenever you have to relieve yourself, to come back into your body. Be grateful that things are working there. And then transitional time. And transitional time refers to whenever we're waiting in line. And believe it or not, that if you live to be about 70, we spend 3 years of our lives waiting in line at the grocery store, waiting for the stoplight to change, waiting for the Zoom room to open. Now imagine if we use that time to really nourish ourselves. And with regards to the toilet, we can spend up to 4 years on the toilet. Now, imagine if we use that time instead of being on our phones or daydreaming, but to just breathe and come back to ourselves and really hold ourselves with tenderness. And then drinking tea or coffee, it may already be a daily ritual. Now, imagine if we just brought a kind, compassionate, tender awareness to that daily ritual. And how do you do this? In each of these cases, you're going to bring awareness first to your breathing and then to your senses. And that's it for the three T's. We'll move on to our next wellness practice. Now, this is one that has been invaluable for me in my personal and professional life, and it's the practice of seeing yourself in others. And what I would do is to really use some sentence stems to help me um, really understand the interconnection that I have with others. And so, for example, um, whenever I was having parent teacher conferences back when I was a teacher, I'd say, breathing in, I see myself as the parent of, and I'd put the student's name in. And I do this in between. Their parent conferences are usually stacked, but I do it, when I had a few minutes break in between, and then breathing out. I recognize we are a team and we want the best for that student. And just doing that put me in a more inviting, warm, receptive, relational space. And so I invite you to think about something in your life where you can use that sentence and really take a breath in and see yourself as the other. And the next one is breathing in. I see myself as the student. And this is when I was ever having a challenge with a student, but it could be, anyone in your life, and I'd say the student's name. And breathing out, I recognize that the student wants to be seen, heard, and valued. And I do this before I ever had to have a restorative conversation with a student or any type of engagement with the student where maybe the relationship was strained and we had to reconnect. And then the last sentence stem I offer here is when I used a lot with colleagues, and we know we don't always see on the same page as those we work with. Um, and so, breathing in, I see myself as, and I'd say the colleague's name, and breathing out, I recognize that they want what's best for their students to. So I invite you to just think about your life context and think about how you can incorporate this idea of seeing yourself and others. And now, the last wellness strategy I want to offer in this video is that of mindful breathing. And what that consists of is really pausing at any time throughout our day to connect our breath and notice ourselves inhaling and exhaling. Just pause and notice. You can even set a timer on your phone to go off maybe every 30 minutes as a reminder to just come back to your body, come back to your breath. Why would you do it? Your breath is always with you. In fact, I had the great good fortune of studying with the late, great Professor Ramchandra Gandhi, who was the grandson of Mahatma Gandhi. And one evening we were hanging out and he said to me, Mina, who's your best friend? And I was like, I don't know, is this a trick question? I started to name my best friend. And he said, no, it's your breath. It's the last thing to leave you. It's always with you. And you can't breathe in the past, you can't breathe in the future, you can only breathe right now. So the breath is a powerful way to access the present moment and remember that we are alive. We are alive living this life that has the potential to feel more miraculous in each moment. And the how, I mentioned earlier, setting off a timer, but really, creating the conditions so you continue to come back to your breath and grow your capacity for mindfulness throughout the day. This is also known as a SMART break, short moments of awareness repeated many times. And what that does is it really builds our mindfulness reservoir. So when things get really tough, we are more likely to be responsive than reactive and be able to access the wiser parts of ourselves. So that's it. Those are some wellness strategies that have been very handy in my life. And perhaps you are now curious to adapt and explore how you might bring them into your life. Take care and have a beautiful day.